Greetings, YouTube. I recently watched the latest trailer for Spider-Man Homecoming, a film I'm not really all that interested in. I'll probably pick it up cheap on DVD at some point just to watch it. I mean, I watched the reboot, the last reboot they did, and that was a horrible, horrible movie. I haven't seen the second one with Jamie Foxx. Again, waiting to find it cheap somewhere. Um, and in it, you get a really solid look at the armor that Tony Stark has made for Spider Man, for Peter Parker. And it's really wonderful. It's lithe and it's form fitting and it really looks like the type of armor that a character with his power set would wear. Um, but then it really brought home to me what an abysmal job Tony Stark has done about making sure his teammates are protected. Because if he can make a set of armor that Spider-Man can wear effectively, why isn't Black Widow wearing a set? Why isn't Hawkeye wearing a set? And why the is Falcon flying around in an open framework with wings when Iron Man and War Machine, or whatever name they've given that suit, is flying around in fully encased armor that doesn't require wings? Oh, I know, because the character is a character with wings. Well, Hawkeye doesn't wear a bright purple suit with cat eye mask either, like he did in the 1970s. A testament to drugs, I guess. Things change, and it would make perfectly logical sense for Iron Man to have make sure every single person on his team had the best possible equipment. He's given Captain America functional equipment, though Captain America could also wear armor just in the same style as Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man's strength levels are huge on his own, yet the armor can tolerate that. So you could make a thin, form-fitting suit that would be perfectly suited for Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Falcon. Though Falcon could just get his own set of armor like War Machine and Iron Man has. Make it bird-themed if you'd like. It doesn't need wings. And why hasn't Tony Stark outfitted special forces units for the police so that they can function and deal with the criminals that now inhabit this world? So why aren't you having special ops SWAT teams that are in armor? You don't need to give them high-tech weapons if you don't want to, but you could give them armor for defensive purposes. Because they're going to be facing metahumans on a regular basis now. But no, that would defy some sort of comic book logic. I use that term loosely. That it is that kind of inconsistency that drives me nuts and is the reason I don't read comic books much anymore. I read them occasionally. I don't read them regularly because these flaws bug me. If you're going to build a world, you have to build the whole world from the top down and the bottom up and everything in between. When you're doing it this mishmash way, you get so many things that make no sense that it starts to break down. It's like hiring a dozen people to each design one part of a car without letting any of them communicate with the others. Whereas if you have one person in charge of the entire project, they can make sure everything flows and functions. They really need someone in Marvel, both in the comics and in the films, doing continuity checks. And saying, if we've got X, Y, and Z, that logically leads to 1, 2, 3. And there's no reason you don't make that connection. Except, again, Hawkeye has to wear a suit that has wings. Even though that puts him at great danger. Heck, Tony Stark could help soup up Ant-Man's suit. And why isn't Ant-Man's technology being used by Tony Stark and War Machine? Just imagine for a moment that Tony Stark had some of the stuff that Hank Pym designed in his suit so that he could have turned those huge alien ship monster things that were, a quarter mile long into something this big, whereupon Hulk just takes it and goes, squeak. But again, oh, it would take away drama. You find another way of getting the drama in your show. You can do it. But if you do that kind of thing, people are gonna be like, "Hey, there's consistency here. There's a network of information and storylines all coming together in a sensible way." Instead of we get things like Hawkeye rather, and Black Widow running around practically naked in a world with things like Ultron and Thor. It doesn't make any sense, and it bugs me. I know it probably shouldn't bug me this much, but it does. Maybe because as a kid, I loved comics so much, back when I didn't see these inconsistencies. And as I did over time, I became disillusioned. Maybe there's nothing worse than a fan that's seeing through the bullshit. So tell me, does this kind of thing bug you? Do you think it makes sense that Tony Stark really should be looking at making armor for his compatriots so that they're safe and they get home at the end of the day? Because really, shouldn't that be his concern? That my teammates go home at the end of the day? That Hawkeye gets to go home to his family? Shouldn't that be his number one concern? Saving the world is great, but you shouldn't unnecessarily sacrifice your team members. And sacrifices should be, at least in a storyline, dramatic and not just because someone took a shot because they weren't wearing any kind of protection. For example, Quicksilver. So tell me, does this kind of stuff bug you?